Hello, this is Chris with Happy Chap Media, and today I'm going to give you a quick little tutorial on how to use layers in Photoshop. So as we can see here, I have our Happy Chapel logo open, and if you take a look over on the right panel, we can see that we have the chap is on one layer. So if I select the layer that he is on and move him around, there he goes all on his own. I can hit Command Z to get him to go back to where he was at. And then the other layers, we have media, Command Z, and of course, Happy Chap. So the basic controls for your layers, basically you can select each of them, and that means you're controlling just that layer. So no matter what I do with the chap, I'm not going to affect the Happy Chap title here or the word media. You can just move around freely as you would like. So I'm going to put them right back there. And you can also turn these layers visible or invisible with the little eye logo here. Another thing you can do with your layers is you can use layer effects, which I have on these guys. For instance, the chap has a drop shadow there. That's going to be another tutorial because there's a lot to get into there. So we're just going to wait on that one. There's also these layer styles going on, such as with the media. On its layer, I have it set to screen up here, which basically means that you can see through it and see how you can see the chap back there, and no matter where I put the chap, you're going to see those elements of him still through the media. And these are kind of fun to play around with. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. It's something more like where you experiment with it. The main ones are screen, or if you do multiply, it's going to add the colors to there. So basically multiply is more like adding your shadows of the layer that's on top. Screen's more adding the light colors to the layers below it. And there's a bunch of different other ones, like you can use colors, so where all that's going through to the next layers is the color of the layer that you're setting this to. For right now, we're going to set it back to screen. And yeah, I highly recommend going in and playing around with all these settings. You're going to get a bunch of different effects that you'll either like or you won't, but you can play around and figure out what you do like. So now I'm going to show you some other things that are good about layers. So now, a huge thing with images that can like change a logo is like your background. So I have a few images here. I'm going to select all, or Command A, which is right there. And you'll see your dotted line comes around the image. And then I'm going to copy it. And see, now that I'm selecting on the background layer here, if I say paste, it's going to go right above that layer. So now I have a weird little background going on. And you see, it gives it kind of a texture and gives a whole different feel to the image. And let's try another one. Let's try that one. Got the right one selected there. I want to size it down a little bit so it'll come up. Oh, the image is just big. Alright. So I can size it down, position it wherever I like, make this other layer over here invisible when we're done, which we don't necessarily have to do. This layer's over it, so that's fine. So that gives him a whole different feel too. Now he just has like a nice splash of color behind him. Another cool thing we can do with these layers is I can add a new one. Here's the little add new layer button down at the bottom, and these are your layer controls here. You can add new layer style, you can link layers. And one reason you'd want to link layers, like say I want to move the Happy Chap and just the chap. So I'm going to hold Command to select each of those individually. And then I'm going to say link. And now they're linked, so now if I move them around, they will follow each other. And they're still going to stay on their own layer, so Happy Chap, the word is still in front of media and the guy is still behind media, but they can freely move together like that. Again, I'm going to Command Z out of that, unlink them because I don't really want them linked right now. And you can play around with masks. That's going to be a different tutorial as well. Or you can create a folder. So then we can title our folder, let's go logo, because the Happy Chap and his terms I want them all to be one logo. So now I can take all of these guys, hold shift and select all of them, pull them into the logo folder. And now if I hit the little arrow there, I can close up the folder. So if I have a lot of layers going on, I can clean it up a little bit and keep track of everything a little easier. Because we don't want a ton of layers in here crowding up everything, making it hard to find everything. Another good practice to get into is actually titling your layers. So we'll call this one Classy. And this one Paper. So on and so forth. It just makes it easier when you're like trying to keep track of all your layers over here if you're planning on having a lot of them. So now what I'm going to do with this one is we're going to call him, oh, there's our layer style sheet, not what we want right now. We're going to call them color. So now here's a fun little trick we can do that makes something like this little splash of color back there. We can easily just say, pick another color, maybe we want it to be red. So pick that, use our paint bucket over here. Just, oops. Want to make sure we're selected on our layer. Fill it in. So now it's just pure red there. Now if we come over to this bar, hit color, now that background splash is colored the color red. So basically it's only affecting everything on the Classy layer that has color in it. It's not going to affect any of the white. And like I said, you can play around with these. There's a bunch of different ones you can use. Hue is about the same thing, it's just a little different. You could use exclusion, which is going to basically invert things, or maybe that's difference. Subtract. There's a lot of fun things you can do with these. Hard light, which basically just going to make that color. I think that one reacts to blacks, so that would be the reason there. Screen gives you something completely different, because now it's combining the green and the red, so now you're getting a whole different thing going on there. Multiply, you get almost an opposite effect, like it's going to be dark where the colors are at, and you're still going to have the red color where the white's at. So yeah, lots of fun that you can play around with, and then you can always get rid of them. Go straight back to your black or your plain background. And then say we don't like all these in here, maybe we don't like paper, just trash it. One more thing that you might want to do, or might want to know, here's your layer menu up here. Say you're done with your image, you're not going to use the save for web function, which is fine, because, you know, we have all these in here. If we want to save it, we can just save it as a PSD and then use our save for web function, and we don't have to flatten it. But say we like how it is, we want it to stay exactly this way, it's finished, we're done with it, we don't want our layers anymore, you can say flatten image, and it's all going to become one solid picture. And that's our picture. You can always Command Z out of that, and say you just want to add two elements together. So we're really happy with the way that the color and the Classy meld together right here. So we're going to invisible everything else but what we want to mold together, or merge. Say merge visible, and now that is one layer all of its own. It's no longer an effect or anything. We can bring this guy back in here and say maybe that's what we want. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just totally can this layer altogether. Anyway, lots of stuff to play around with. So I hope you have fun. I hope the tutorial has been helpful. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me at chris@happychatmedia.com. I hope you have a good day.